The Celtics are facing the Golden State Warriors tonight in the first game of a 4-game West Coast road swing. No Stephen Curry, no Seth Curry, maybe Kristaps Porzingis. He's questionable on their injury report at 12 as of 12:45 on the East Coast. No Jimmy Butler. Over in Boston land, it's only Jason Tatum that's out. That's the first game of 4. They're also going to face the Denver Nuggets, the Phoenix Suns, and the Los Angeles Lakers are on this little swing. I'm your host, Adam Taylor. I'm joined by my homie, compadre, co-host in crime, Mr. Brandon Sanquadolce.
Yes, sir. You nailed it.
Yeah,
You
did
nailed
it that
it. How you
time.
doing,
What's
brother?
popping? I'm good, man. I'm good. You?
Yes, sir. Good, man. Happy to have some basketball back for sure.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's too long. Sometimes it feels like it's just every day without a game just drags. I like it to be like a game, a day off, a game, a day off, and you're in this rhythm.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, man, and it's tough, but at the same time, it's like, yo, now we get to watch the Celtics just beat the piss out of Golden State because they're just so short-handed.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. We got some good
How you feeling
storylines.
going into it?
Good. I think realistically, it's going to be some sloppy basketball. Both teams are turning off of some time off. I think it'll start off a little rough, but I think like talent-wise that we definitely have the upper hand.
Yeah, depth-wise as well, I think that Golden State have been struggling just for an identity this season. Just in terms of like their defense has been up and down all year. They've been in games quite frequently and then just been unable to shut up shop down the stretch. Similar to last year where they kind of lost a bunch of games from a winning position. Without Steph there, without Jimmy there, a lot's going to be kind of on the younger dudes. Brandon Podziemski's going to have to shoulder a bunch. They don't have Buddy Hield spacing the floor anymore because he got traded away. They need Kristaps really just to keep their floor spacing open. They didn't lose. Trading Jonathan Kuminga took away their best downhill threat without Jimmy. It's just, I don't know where their scoring punch is going to come from outside of a Moses Moody and Pods, because you don't look at Draymond and be like, this dude's going to score. So in terms of like a Celtics outlook, it's like, hey, it could be somewhat of a trap game. You guys are going to need to be real focused.
That's what I was just going to say. Yep, I could see that. And the thing is no matter who's on the floor for Golden State, I feel like whenever the Celtics go to Golden State, it's always an intense game. It's always a crazy atmosphere, no matter what the matchup with the guys on the court is. I expect it to be intense, probably down to the wire. And honestly, I could see like Horford taking it a little more personally, maybe having his one of better games of the season. He's been saving it for us, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a bit of a stop-start year in Golden State too. It's just been rough for them overall. Steph's been in and out of the rotation all year. I could see Horford having a big night, but and this is no disrespect to Horford, like Celtic, like, as far as I'm concerned, Celtics legend. Obviously, I'm probably going a bit too far with legend. Some people might push back, but I think he's been so key to the development. But I don't look at him as a guy that's going to come out and just win you a game like on his own. He's not at that age anymore. That's not his style of play anyway. He's going to facilitate. He's going to elevate everyone around him. But I just don't see, without Kristaps there, and even with him really because of how many games he's missed this year, I don't see them having a go-to scorer in the same mold as Jaylen Brown. They're not going to be able to just lean on one guy to kind of really drive the offense and create the gravity you need to open things up on the weak side or on the second action or third action. And because of that, I'm like, there's going to be someone on Golden State's roster that none of us expected that's going to go off for 20, 25, 30 points.
You can always count on.
Like, how are you letting this happen, man?
Yep.
So, yeah, somewhat of a trap game. I've still got the Celtics winning comfortably. I'm not going to claim a blowout, not away from home on the road, not with the way Steve Kerr will coach this team. It'll be a shock to me if it was like a 25-point or more win. But I definitely don't expect it to be close coming into the fourth.
I could see it going either way. It just depends. What Celtics team you see, you know? This team, fortunately, hasn't really fallen for the trap games. I think they kind of show up and put their pedal to the floor every single game. But like I said, just coming off of that week off, it's hard to really know what to expect. I did want to say, though, on the topic of Jaylen Brown, I've been an advocate for him to be more talked about in the MVP discussion. And I do look at this West Coast road trip as kind of like his last audition to prove that he really deserves to be in one of those top spots. And I think that he's going to take this whole West Coast trip against the higher teams in the Western Conference very personal. So I'm expecting a big 4-game road trip from him.
Well, 2 of the 4 games he's going to come up against an MVP candidate, Luka Doncic in one, Nikola Jokic in the other.
Exactly.
So it kind of goes no MVP candidate, MVP candidate, no MVP candidate, MVP candidate. So just to put it out there, the Celtics play Golden State today, which is Thursday. They play the Lakers on Sunday. They play Phoenix on Tuesday, and then they wrap up against Denver on Wednesday, if I remember correctly. So it is literally no MVP candidate tonight. Sunday against the Lakers, assuming Luka's healthy and on the floor, there's an MVP candidate. I don't see anyone in Phoenix pushing MVP candidacy this season. If you want to put D-Book in there, then fine, go for it. You can say it's like 3 straight. If Brown outperforms these guys, then the Celtics win. And it needs to be outperforms them from a team and individualistic standpoint. There's no point putting up numbers if you're not getting everybody else involved. But yeah, he definitely, like, I think he elevates himself in that conversation. And then obviously you need to win those games, because I think sometimes, especially with guys that are high level scorers like Brown, where they receive a significantly larger amount of passes than they make. Sometimes you like, one of the arguments you can pull up against them is empty calories. Like, yeah, okay, this dude puts up a bunch of calories, but where's the nutritional value, you know? And I think that he needs to win at least one of those MVP matchup battles, both individually and collectively, for that to be taken seriously.
And I'm not saying that he's necessarily going to, but I do believe that it's going to be on his mind. Absolutely.
I think there's always these guys are like fierce competitors, right? So there's always going to be an aspect where you're like, how much is he pushing for this to happen? Is he pressing the issue too much? Is he forcing his offense too much? And we haven't seen that a lot from him this season. Every player is going to fall into that from time to time.
Right.
You see a lot with Jaylen when he plays the Hawks throughout his career. It's always felt like he's pressing.
Yeah.
Tatum isn't immune either. We've seen Tatum go like that pretty much whenever he faces Paul George. It seems to be like Tatum starts to force the issue a little bit.
His LA games too. You can always
Yeah.
count on a master class when he goes to LA.
Well, it's either a masterclass or a disaster class, depending on if his shots are falling that night. So I do think that that could be part of the narrative that people can spin. But it could also just be like, hey, the Celtics are 35-19, and if they can go 5-0 for over the next 5 games, they're going to hit the 40-20 mark. And I don't know whether that's going to become a narrative, especially if they beat Golden State tonight. And now it's like, hey, if you win the next 4 straight, we're going to be a 40-20 team, and people are going to start talking about us as like real contenders. There's a lot of different layers.
Do you think that a 4-0 road trip is in the cards? How realistic do you see that?
I don't see that as realistic. Not with the talent that you're facing, right? I think the Lakers are always going to up their level of play against Boston, especially at home.
LeBron's possibly last game as a Laker against us.
Yeah.
So I expect him to go all out as well.
Then you've got Jokic and just the way Jokic plays in general. I can see like 3-1 is a really successful road trip to me.
I agree.
I think 2-2 is a fair assumption. I don't expect them to come back with a losing record. I think that's where I'm standing on this. But it's also possible, right? But a 4-0 sweep would be like a Cinderella type of return to this. Like
I'm gonna start talking real crazy if we come back with a 4-0 road trip. I'm gonna start getting reckless.
Yeah, I mean, you've earned it at that point, though, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, the argument has been up to this part of the season that, you know, we haven't really faced the top teams out west. This right here is the biggest test for the season, in my opinion.
I'd argue that. Yeah, I'd argue it's the toughest road swing. They've had a couple of tough road swings, to be fair, but I think what makes this one a little bit more difficult is you're coming into it off a break, off the All-Star break, where all the momentum you built has now kind of just been put on ice, and you've kind of got to rebuild that momentum from scratch. And then you're coming out of the gates against 4 incredibly good, incredibly well-coached teams that are all deep. Now, fortunately, Golden State's injury situation right now makes it a bit of an easier start for you. But yeah, rebuilding that momentum from scratch while on the road it's hard, man. I don't envy them at all.
But they're well prepared, man. Joe Mazzulla will have them ready. Absolutely.
Yeah, shout out to Jackson Moen for his Celtics University piece that he did. That was a deep dive into the amount of film work that the Celtics are doing and the work they're doing to be prepared.
Yep.
So I'll give them credit there. Like, they will be well prepared. I just think it's always worth remembering that so will the other team. The other team is trying to win too. They're doing their film work, maybe not to the same level and to the same intensity that Missoula's got these guys buying in at, but they'll be prepared too. It's never an easy game. And I think that
every team's going to show up against the Celtics, play their hardest. We've come to realize that. Like you said, you can guarantee some young guy that we've barely even heard of dropping 20 plus tonight, but I think the Celtics will withhold it.
I think part of that is like, yeah, it's because it's the Celtics. And then part of it's just, that's the way it's going to work because they need to feed somebody the ball, right? Like, they need to get somebody leading the offense, whether that be Pods, whether it be Moses Moody or Gui Santos. I don't know where you want to go with it, but they're going to need someone. I think one area that if I was the Celtics and I'd look to exploit, especially if Kristaps isn't on the floor, is I'm trying to get downhill at these dudes all night long. They just don't, if they don't have Kristaps, they don't have size. And if they do have Kristaps, then you go to Jaylen and you start cooking in that mid-range and you start
I could see them definitely attacking Porzingis on the defensive end, getting him into every action and just, driving downhill towards him as often as they can.
Yeah, just attack him in drop or just run flare screens with him, like try and get a switch onto him and then have somebody either attack him off the switch or if you try and get a switch off of him. So now he's guarding off ball and then you attack him on the flare and make him fight over screens on the perimeter and basically what you want to do is take away his efficiency of defending or deterring shots at the rim. Yep. The way to do that is force a switch up high or get switched off him and force him to guard an off ball shooter that's coming off screens. Those are the two ways that I'd be trying to exploit him at this point where he's just returning from his like long-term issues. We know he's got that is it POTS or POTS, where it's like the breathing issues that he's got. Make him run until he needs to be off the floor and then start attacking the rim again. So I think the plan will be there. I'm not worried about the Celtics being prepared.
No, absolutely not.
Moving on, though, I do think that we should. Another question I want to talk about. We just spoke about how Porzingis is going to be spacing the floor if he's on the court for Golden State. That makes me wonder. After a week with basically no basketball, where he's been able to do more film work, he's probably been in the gym training with some guys, been with the coaches. Are we moving closer to at least seeing the Celtics experiment with Vucevic as a starting five?
It's tough to say, man. I've gone back and forth with it, and although like his resume absolutely warrants him to start, I don't think that's really debatable. Like I think he's a better player than Kata. But there's also a part of me that's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And if it's working with him coming off the bench, I mean, having Pritchard and Vooch as your 6th and 7th man off the bench is quite a weapon, in my opinion. But to answer your question, I do think that some point in one of these 4 games, I do believe he'll start. I don't know which game. I know Ayton is out against the Lakers. So maybe against Phoenix, maybe you see him start and match up against Jokic.
I could see that. I mean, for me, it's very much along the lines of you need to at least explore what it looks like with Vooch in the starting 5. And part of me thinks that might wait until Tatum's back because it'll work better with Tatum, Brown, Vooch, White, and then whoever you want as that extra 5th guy, like in a 5-out offense. I think Ningmi's earned the right to continue being the starter for the rest of the season. I'm not saying he needs to be replaced, but I also think you need to get reps with Vucevic in both starting and bench rotations, because there's always the chance of an injury or a guy needing to sit out with rest. And you don't want that game to be Vucevic's first time stepping into that starting five with the new team. So I don't know. Part of me feels like just maybe 1-2 times during this road trip, just plug him into the starting five, see how it goes, and start gathering some data around whether, hey, it works with Nimi, but can it work better with Vuce? Because I agree, having a Pritchard and Vucevic 6th and 7th man and bringing them off the bench, that is a huge weapon. But having Pritchard and Nimi could also be a huge weapon too, because you're going to get the rim running and you're going to get the above the rim, the defense. So I think it works both ways. I just think it's worth at least experimenting with a little bit before it's too late in the year where you really can't afford to be tweaking the rotation anymore.
No, I definitely agree. I think Vucevic starting when the playoffs come around makes a lot more sense, but you do obviously need to get some reps in with that beforehand. Do you see a world where Vooch and Kata are both starting?
I really hope not.
Yeah,
Because
I don't like it either. I was just wondering.
So, like, I've been big on this. I'm fine with a double big if one of those bigs is like an Al Horford type, where you can trust them to handle the rock a little bit. They can do more than just rim run. Like when it was Horford and KP, you knew that Horford could initiate actions on a DHO. You knew that he could make secondary passes. He could go screen. He could set flare screens and then veer into dudes. With Niemi, it's going to be screen and roll into the dunker spot, or screen and roll and wait for the over-the-top pass, or you're going to try and hit him on the pocket pass while Vuce is kind of spaced out, but you lose a decision maker there. Now you only have 3 decision makers on the floor. You have Derek White, whoever's at the 2/3, and Jaylen Brown. Then you have your 2 bigs. And I think the difference is last year when you went double big, you still had 4 decision makers on the floor because Horford could be that 4th. Then for me, it's just about having multiple dudes that can make reads and make high IQ basketball plays possession after possession. And I'm not saying that Nimi and Vuce aren't capable of that. I think Vuce is actually an underrated playmaker, but I think that
his passing looks good.
There's other options, right, where you don't need to have Nimi there, where you can be just as impactful. Now, if you're going up against a team that runs double big themselves, then sure, then match up, go size for size. Right now, go Vuce and Nimi, but as like a long-term strategy, I don't see why that would be beneficial.
No, totally fair. Totally fair.
Now, what about you? Do you want to see it or no?
No, I just wanted your opinion. I think things would get a little too clunky out there.
Yeah, Dan, I think we saw that when it was Nimi and Gaza together, right? Because they did a couple of games.
That was the Knicks game, and it was a disaster. Yeah.
And I think it was against Miami. They tried it as well the game before. There was I'm sure there was a stint where they went double big against them too, and it was just horrendous. Now, Vuce solves some of those problems, but he also brings his own type of problems too. So I'm against it personally. I still want to see him start a few games, but not if it means starting next to Nimi or Gaza, for that matter.
Yeah, no, it'll be until Tatum comes back. I just think it's gonna be kind of mixing, matching, filling in puzzle pieces here and there, and I don't really expect much consistency until Tatum comes back.
If Tatum comes back as well, that's the worst thing. We just don't know.
I know. We talked about that last episode. Yeah, no, it's a mystery, but hey, credit to Joe again. He's figured it out time and time again.
It's going to be tough. I think that having Vuce in the starting 5 might alleviate some issues and bring up others. But you are right. Until they, 1, round out the roster permanently instead of just with 10 days, and 2, getting a final answer whether Tatum's back or not this year. A lot of it's still guesswork, and right, you're just trying to put the best players in the best positions possible to be successful. And Joe's done that all season long. But that leads us to talking about 10 days, right? And the Celtics made 2 10-day signings today. So let's talk about that. One of them was John Tonji, who they've converted from a 2-way into a 10-day. He'll be a free agent once that 10-day deal expires. They are allowed to re-sign him on another 2-way deal afterwards. But, it depends. Apparently, he's been a standout for Maine this year. I'm going to be honest, I don't know anything about John Tonji. I've barely seen him play, if ever.
Same.
You're shaking your head too.
Same, bro. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sorry to sound like a casual. I did tune into a couple highlights that were posted on Twitter. That's the most I know about him, to be completely
Yeah,
honest with you.
I'm not about to sit here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to John Tanji. The other guy they did sign, though, that we can speak on at least a little bit is Delano Banton. Signed Delano Banton to a 10-day. He's just coming off a 10-day with the Clippers, played 2 games for them. I think it was 67 games for the Portland Trailblazers last year. I think 2 of them games come as a starter or something like that.
Yep.
And since he went to Portland, because the Celtics traded him to Portland midway through the 2023-24 season, 24-25, 25, yeah, 2023-24 season. Since then, he's actually looked like he's improved a lot. So the Celtics are getting back a better version of a player they traded away 2 years ago or 18 months ago or whatever it may be.
And he's still on the younger side, man. He's only 26, 6'8" guard, and I feel like he just fits the team very well. What he lacks in talent, he'll make up with a high motor and his athleticism. You got someone that can facilitate the ball. But at the end of the day, I do think he's probably just 2 10-day contracts and done. I don't think he'll really have a huge impact. But simply for the vibes, I'm very excited to have him back. And I do think he can contribute during the regular season in a small role.
Yeah, and I mean, that was kind of the point I was going to put out there. Like, just because they've signed him, I don't expect him to play. If he plays, I expect it to be like in a game that's already won or already lost.
Garbage minutes, yeah.
/ garbage time, yeah. What I will say is that the reason the Celtics are doing this is because they're trying to wait for NBA salaries, because NBA salaries are pro rata. So as the season wears on, the value of the contracts decrease. And obviously the Celtics are trying to wait for contracts to get cheap enough that they can sign a couple of guys and stay under that luxury tax. I do think that Banton's a 1 and done, maybe a 2 and done if he impresses. But then that's it. I don't see him being someone that sticks long term. Maybe they bring him back once they're ready to start signing guys. But for right now, it's like, hey, welcome back. You're going to be here for a cup of coffee, then we're going to wave you on again. I'd like to see him at least get 1, maybe 2 games in, just so, like, it's been a worthwhile trip for him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I do think I think he'll see some time. I think we have at least one blowout in this 10-day span where he'll get some garbage time minutes and we'll get to see him. Like I said, even if it's just for the vibes, I think it's a good story, and I'm excited to see him back. Prior to
he was. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, prior to him signing, the only name that I was ready to discuss was Lonzo Ball, and that would have just been a complete waste of time. So I'm glad that we did sign Banton, and like I said, it's a good story.
I don't think Lonzo Ball will be a 10-day pickup. I think there's still a world where he could be somebody the Celtics look at once a minimum contract is worthwhile, once it's going to be cheap enough. Now, will Lonzo Ball sign a minimum contract for the rest of the season? We don't know. I think that beggars can't be choosers, and if he wants an opportunity to prove that he can be the previous version of him, like the pre-injury version of himself during the postseason, then it's worthwhile to him.
I think he just comes with more expectations. The name carries more weight, whereas Banton can just kind of go out and, whatever he does, we weren't really expecting much from him.
Yeah, but that's the difference between the 10-day and the full-scale contract, right? Like, one of them comes with expectations and one of them comes with none.
Absolutely.
I'd be down for him to explore Lonzo down the road. I think at least with Banton coming in, the dude knows most of the key guys on this rotation, right? So he's going to slot straight into the locker room and feel comfortable for the most part. He's played for Joe before, so he's used to Joe's coaching methods. That's not going to be new to him. And he kind of understands the system, because it might be a little bit different this year in terms of tempo, in terms of just some of the screens that they're looking to set. But for the most part, the blueprint's very similar. So he's going to feel comfortable there too. And I think with Brad Stevens and what we know about his desire to, not desire, that's the wrong word, with the way he favorably views continuity, it makes sense to bring somebody back that can just slap back into a role.
No, absolutely. I guess I just want to ask, do you see a world where he takes any minutes away from any of the younger guys, Walsh, Gonzalez, Shireman? Do you think he slots into any of their minutes?
As a 10-day guy, I'd be really upset if he did, but I think Joe's the type of coach that it's like, hey, if you're underperforming, I'm going to give this guy minutes and give him chance
Kind of what I
to
was
earn a
thinking.
bigger role. Yeah. So, like,
Especially somebody that does know the system to an extent.
exactly. So I think that I don't expect it to happen, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it did happen.
Right. Hey, man.
And I think
Exciting
that's the
stuff.
most important part. So with that, I think we kind of hit everything today. So make sure you're going to show us some love. Head over to CelticsChronicle.com, sign up to the newsletter. And most importantly, though, hit subscribe on here and show some love there. Me and Brandon will be back over the weekend. I will also be with Billy, touch wood, after the Warriors game to break that down. Until next time, peace out. Go Celtics.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.